morning, lovely. Great to see you. It's good to be here out in the garden. It's probably a little breezy, but there's too much going on for me not to show you, so let me just get on with it, because this is the time. And by the way, welcome to the spring solstice, the spring equinox. So you might have seen the photographs I took yesterday. The sun was very bright, but it was beautiful. You can see that the sporaxis are really starting to happen now. Look at this. It's all happening. Liz, good morning. So the purple ones are always first, and then you get all these red ones and the odd. That's actually a pink one, but it's gone a different colour because of how these bulbs are. That's a coral orange. It looks a bit faded on my screen, but it's beautiful. You can see the colour a little bit better here in the bud. And all the red ones are starting to come out. And this is hot pink. And Xenia, good morning. Lovely to see you, Lonnie, darling. So here it all is, and here's some more coral. Oh, on the way, let's see some red. That's really properly red. I know it doesn't look red, but trust me, it is. It's interesting seeing what the camera does with the colours, and there's more orange ones. So this bed is going to get very busy, and well, you can see the roses are sprouting. Good morning, Jim. And here is the white bells, and thank you for sharing, I appreciate it. And the bluebells, you can see, are just starting. And I've got a feeling, from the bumpiness of this, that I forgot to turn on the Wi-Fi. So I'm actually going to go inside and check, because if I forget to turn on the Wi-Fi, it's not good. So let me just walk in, get my keys. I thought I'd done it, but sometimes I think I've done it and I haven't. So we're walking up the steps here. There's the view. You can see the kowhai tree, which at the moment is not full of tuis, but it gets busy. I'm just going to go and check, because I've got a feeling that I did not turn on the Wi-Fi.
I can't share from your manifestation page.
Oh, fun and games. Well, see how you do. There's always a bump. That is my husband doing his best to be my sharing genius. There we go. Now we've gone from satellite to Wi-Fi, and it should be smoother. And hopefully we can get shared out to the groups. But always when you do something different, there is a bump. So here's the magnolia, and you can see it is starting to flower, which is great. And we have cinerarias and native ferns in this little corner that I really needed to weed over the weekend, but I sanded windows instead because I really wanted to get that done. Oh, look, my goodness, this is very early. The very first Japanese anemone of the year. And you can see the Irma coneflowers in the back. It's beyond Camel's Gym. It was being on the satellite as opposed to the Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is a lot smoother. Now I'm going to walk through the garden, because I don't want you to miss out on the freesias, which are still going mad. So there it all is. You can see the flowers are starting to wear a little bit, but you know, that happens. Passing of time. And last but not least, they're not open, but here are the tulips. I have this little batch of tulips, and they come up every year. So there we go. I'm going to turn this around now. Alright, so great excitement going live from my manifestation coaching page and discovering that the sharing isn't working, because there's always a learning. So, what is our topic today? It's like, oh my god, my brain has been derailed. And there's a lovely noisy plane coming over giving me time to think, so I'm going to do that. So, Shafi asked a really good question last Friday, and in short, and it was short anyway, how do I know what my unconscious beliefs are? How do I know what my unconscious programs are? How do I know what's driving me when I don't know that it's driving me? You know, it's a kind of it is about getting outside of your own box. Good morning, Linda. Lovely to see you. having our entertainment going from one place to the other, but I expected that. So how do you know when you don't know, right? And the answer is surprisingly simple, really. I'm not going to say that we like it, but it's surprisingly simple. If you want to know what your problem programs are, if you want to know what's running you unconsciously, really honest look at your life and see what it is that you find easy. Because whatever you find easy, you've got a good program running about that, and that includes things that you wish you didn't find easy, right? You got a really good, strong program running for everything that you just do automatically and easily, whether you like it or not. The things that you don't find easy, things that don't work well, the program that you have running for that, crappy program. Really simple. Like I say, I didn't think you'd like it. I don't like it. It's just the truth. So, that's how you know. You look at your life. Now, what practical use is that? Great, I can see what the areas of my life that just don't work and haven't worked for however long, Wonderful, now I know that that's because I got a crappy program. That really doesn't help me much, Maddie. What do I do with this? How can I make this of some practical use? Because I always ask that question of myself. Fine, fantastic, great philosophy. Who gives a wet slap if I can't use it? So how do you find it? How do you turn that information into something that's useful to you? Well, pick one. Pick one. And now I'm just trying to decide on the one that I'm going to use in this example. Maybe let's talk about interpersonal relationships. When you struggle to communicate clearly and easily with people, when there's always conflict, or you think it's going to be great and then it turns to shit and you think, how did that happen? Or you're struggling always in the workplace, or in your family. There's just always conflict in your family. And it's like, why is this like this? I don't want it to be like this. How do I continue to create this? And you end a relationship and you get into a new one and the same shit happens. Nora, good morning, honey. It's great to see you. How? How do you do something with that? So you have to get even more specific, I think. Pick just one relationship that you want to have work better. Jen, good morning. Because, if you're trying to climb Mount Everest, you've got to start with the first step. And if you try to just leap to the top in a single bound, it's not going to happen. It doesn't work like that. I am not Superman, Oh, the family's expanding, becoming a tribe. And it's totally new program because you've manifested that, Linda, because you've been changing yourself for years. So you totally created this, and it'll bring new challenges. That's the thing with growth. It does bring new challenges, but you're better equipped to meet them. And I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited for me. So excited for everybody who's doing this. So pick one connection or interaction or recurring situation or whatever it is. Might be, oh my God, when I'm in a sales situation, maybe when you are in sales, and the moment when you're just sure that you should be having the sale happen, it goes sour and it doesn't. It's like, what did I do? How did I not make that happen, Or I want to be creating greater health in my life. I want to change what I'm eating. I want to exercise. I want to not indulge in something, whatever it is. Just take a good look at it and pick one. So you're zeroing in right to one thing that you want to change. Maybe you just want to change how you eat. because that's a common one. I know I'm eating crap. I know I'm not helping my body. I know I'm not doing this the right way, but I'm just on automatic, and I want to change what I'm eating, but my body is so used to it. You decide to change it, and then a few hours later the cravings come, and it's pretty rugged. How do you change that? So right about the time the cravings or the impulses or the I need this or I want to slap that person or, my work colleague is just driving me crazy, right about the time your reaction starts, that's when you gotta watch yourself. That's when you gotta get aware. That's when you've gotta pay attention. And here's the difficult thing. You've got to stop looking at everybody and everything outside of yourself that you have used for the last however long as a reason to say why it's okay for you to feel this way or behave like this. Stop using your external circumstances as a reason for your behaviour that you don't want to do. That's really hard. It is really hard. But also, if you keep on saying, oh, well, I'm like this because of, well, you're giving your power away to that circumstance or that food or that person or that thing that you say you can't do. You're just saying, well, that thing is bigger than me. Hell, it's been bigger than me for the last 24 and a half years. You give your power away. So really, do you want to keep doing that? If you decide that you don't want to, understand it's going to be a bit of a wrestling match inside you because you're used to giving in. You're used to saying that this thing is bigger than me. And you are used to using that as an excuse to not look at yourself and make some small moment-to-moment modification to your behaviour. That's really what it boils down to. And I don't like it either. But the very thing that ticks you off, that exasperates you, that makes you feel depressed or powerless or despair or I can't do this, for however long it's been making you feel like that, well, you still have to decide if you're going to continue to let it make you feel that way. Because the only reason anything gets to make us feel anything is because we give our power away to it. We say, this is bigger than me. And, that's very easy for me to say, standing here in my garden looking at flowers, having peace and quiet, COVID-free country, more or less. Some of you are living in really extreme circumstances. But I also know that because of the stories that I've heard other people tell about how they overcame their own extreme circumstances, that they had the option to say, well, this is bigger than me, just like you and I do, and they made the choice not to do that. And it was hard. And they had to overcome themselves, and they had to do it for an extended period of time. They had to realise that they had become the person who's had this problem for the last 27 years. And if I've been being that person for 27 years, it might take me some time to unbecome this person and become someone else. Seeing Marie, good morning, sweetie. It's really challenging to do. I'm reminded, I just heard Joe tell this story the other day. One of the people that he refers to, and I've read about her in one of his books, this lady she had a very abusive father, and she was constantly victimised and beaten and everything when she was a teenager, very traumatic childhood. And when he met her, she looked like a normal person, but she had this severe situation with her bones that they were basically falling apart. You couldn't barely touch her because her bones might break. Now, isn't that a manifestation of weakness and powerlessness, which is what she'd been feeling, and feeling angry and resentful and everything else, and really, really scared for her whole life because she'd grown up with this alcoholic father, so she was programmed into feeling like that, and her body manifested it for her. So because somebody asked him a question in an interview, well, how long do people have to do this work to change their health? And he said, well, it depends on the person. It really does depend on the person. He told the story of this lady, and that's her background. She, I think she was in her 30s or 40s with this terrible, basically osteoporosis, but worse. The doctors couldn't operate. They couldn't put pins in anything. There was none to put pins in. He said it took her about 2.5, 3 years to overcome herself and change her genetic expression. And I remember him saying, and it's an amazing story that she did this. When they first started, she would come along to events, and his team would be like, oh God, it's her. She's so difficult. She's so demanding. She needs all the right food. She needs everything put on tap because she's so fragile. She's so, don't touch me, I'm going to break. She was a really stressful person to deal with. But she kept showing up, and she kept on doing the work to change herself. And it took her about 3.5 years. I don't know. I can't remember exactly. And she overcame the condition. Totally normal bones. Got her life back. So she had a lot of programming to overcome. It doesn't happen quickly. For some of us, it seems to, but because we've done the work, you can have this magical thing happen and suddenly something amazing manifests. But we have to make the changes inside ourselves. And there's no way around that. There is no shortcut to becoming the person you want to become. You got to work out how that person is, and you got to think, well, today, how am I going to show up a little bit more like that person? I'm still doing that. I go into the unified field every morning. My God, it was amazing today. And I come back as somebody else, and my job, as much as I can, is to embody that state of being today. And I remember, I finished, and I actually conked out afterwards. I had to sleep. And then I got up, put my shoes on, walked up the top of the hill, and I remember thinking, I don't even know what I'm embodying today. I've got no idea what it is. This is so different and so kind of not everything. It's like, where's my old self gone? Oh, that's right. I'm remembering that this is the me that's not afraid of seeing a whole lot of stuff. I started to work with my vision. A bit short-sighted. What do I not want to see? Realising that there's a whole lot of stuff I don't want to see. I've been saying it for many years. La, 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 la. I'm not looking, I'm not listening. And I'm short-sighted. I just want to see what's in front of me. Actually, I want to see more than that now. And it's amazing to find how much fear there actually is in me about seeing everything in the world. Why? Because for a long time I've been aware, there are certain movies I won't watch because it's just excruciating watching what people do to each other. It's only a movie, but I feel like it's real. There's a whole... just don't... because it's so horrible watching people be mean to each other. But that part of me actually has to go. It's not that it makes it okay, it's just that having that fear, having that, oh no, I can't handle that, resonating in my field is going to cause me problems, and it's going to keep stuff out that I need to allow in and through. So I've had to become conscious of that self and how that self operates, and I know I'm going to become more and more conscious of me like that. Because this self has to die. And right now it's like, I don't really know who I am if I'm not bothered by all that stuff, but I am aware that I am on the path to becoming that self, to discovering that self, to knowing how it is to be able to walk through this world and see everything and be affected by none of it. Which is an interesting thing because, you think, oh, you want to see the good in life and not the bad. But what if I can be so in harmony with everything that I understand that it's all polarity and it's all because life itself is evolving and life needs polarity to evolve, all that philosophical stuff. What if that philosophical stuff becomes real in me and actually something I can embody practically? I don't know what this is like. I haven't got a clue. Austin, great to see you. It's unknown to me. But this is the limitation that I'm just gently picking away at. I am not pushing up against it. I was going to say that. It's like, no, I'm not pushing up against it. I'm just exploring who I would be without it. And once you've identified, oh gee, I really am limited about this, and I keep on manifesting that, and then you start noticing how you're doing it. And by the way, she nearly forgets the most important thing. How do you do that? When you're in that situation again, notice what you're thinking. Catch yourself, catch your thoughts, catch your feelings, notice your impatience, your desperation, your whatever it is. Notice it. Pay attention to your unconscious, unnoticed, habitual reactions. And when you finally catch yourself in the act, because you will, if you get willful and determined about it, you will notice. When you catch yourself in the act, then you have a choice about whether you keep on doing and being that, or if you become somebody else by thinking, well, if I don't want to think that way and feel that way, how do I want to think? It's a very thoughtful, if you like, even intellectual process. What thoughts do I want to think instead? What feelings do I want to have instead? What are they? I may not know how to do it, but let's at least identify them. And, you start to think about it, you start to figure it out, and in that very process, you start to imagine who you are. When thought processes and emotional states of being that you are so accustomed to and so normal to you are not you anymore. That's what we're doing. And I never said it was easy. It is not easy. But is it worth the effort? Hell yeah. Heaven yeah. Whatever word you want to use, yeah. And for me to know that I can actually change myself, it's like, oh my God, you mean I don't have to be like I always was? Yeah. I'm so grateful that I have that option and I know how. Why do you think I talk about it? Because I want other people to know what this is like. And how fabulous it is when you can change, and you do change, and you feel it, and you think, oh, I'm not that me anymore. You look back. And now I look forward, because what I'm thinking and feeling is becoming it's the past and my future. The person who's living that life without fear. It's really good. So I know I'm out of time. Thank you so much for joining me on my coaching page instead of on my Facebook profile page. It's very exciting. Small leap, huge leap, whatever it is. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for participating. I'll catch up on your comments later. Big love. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.